Harlequins' Christmas visits to Twickenham have become an annual favourite with fans, with 82,000 in attendance at the home of English rugby. And Big Game 7 had extra spice, with Aviva Premiership champions Northampton back at HQ for the first time since the final in May. Quins made a blistering start in last year's fixture against Chiefs, and they started this encounter in much the same fashion, stretching the Saints' defence before George Lowe found his way over the whitewash. Fly half Tim Swill missed out on the extras, but slotted a penalty minutes later to stretch his side's advantage. Northampton's riposte came through a powerful drive, finished off by Samu Manoa. The American is bound for European champions Toulon next season. How Saints fans will miss his presence in the pack. Quins were enjoying more of the ball and had a man advantage when Selisi Mafu went into the bin, but were unable to convert their dominance into scores. And just after the restart, the hosts were caught cold. Manoa involved again, charging down Swill's clearance and offloading superbly to George North, the Welshman grabbing his first Twickenham try. Conor O'Shea's youthful side were determined not to cave into the champions and clawed their way back after sustained pressure through Jack Clifford's darting finish. However, Saints began to turn the screw again. Returning loosehead Alex Corbisiero had gone close before Kang Fotuali eventually trundled over. With 10 minutes to go, Quins were 12 points adrift. The host did keep the capacity crowd entertained till the last. Sam Twoney finished off a fine move to pull his side within a score of taking victory. But it was Northampton who sealed the win that puts them top of the league at the turn of the year. Final score at Twickenham, Harlequins 25, Northampton 30.
Harlequins hosted Northampton in round 19 of the Gallagher Premiership, with both teams fighting for a top 4 spot. Marcus Smith and Dan Biggar traded early penalties before Saints scored the first try in the 13th minute. Nice offloads in the midfield and good forwards play eventually created space out wide for the wing Arce Tawala to dot down and make it 10-3 to the visitors. Smith and then Biggar kept the scoreboard ticking, with Chris Boyd's men leading 13-6 at half-time. Quins soon levelled the game up after the break though. Quick hands from Kyle Sinclair released Jack Clifford, who crashed over, levelling the scores at 13-all. Two more coolly taken penalties from Smith appeared to put Quins into a healthy 6-point lead, but there was to be a late sting in the tail at the Stoop. In the 79th minute, Alex Mitchell found some space on the blind side and then glided his way through the Quins defence to touch down and give Saints the chance to pilfer the 4 points. And another youngster, James Grayson, held his nerve from the tee to seal a vital victory for the Saints as they close to within 4 points of their opponents. Harlequins 19, Northampton 20, a 4th straight defeat for the Londoners.
With 6th place still well and truly up for grabs, it was fitting that the two sides gunning for the final automatic Champions Cup spot faced off at Franklin's Gardens in round 22, with Northampton welcoming Harlequins. And it was the visitors who flew out of the blocks to silence the home fans, former Wallaby skipper James Horwell powering over for the game's first score. On his final appearance before hanging up his boots, Nick Evans converted the try and added a penalty to make the score 10-0 after just 9 minutes. Northampton would hit back though, Harry Malander with the delightful offload to set up George North for an easy run-in. And they'd score again just after the 20-minute mark. Louis Picamole instrumental in supplying Alex Waller with the simplest of finishes. Malander's conversion making it 14-10. Evans was then wayward with a tough penalty attempt, but all was forgotten less than 2 minutes later as Joe Marchant touched down in the corner. Evans would make amends for his earlier miss when he slotted the conversion, but Malander would slot a penalty of his own before the break, levelling the score at 17 apiece. Into the second period, and Evans would edge Harlequins back in front with another penalty. The final points of a quite sensational career as he was replaced by Tim Swill with 57 minutes played. 2 minutes later, and there was another departure from the field, this time by way of a yellow card when Charlie Matthews was sent to the sin bin. And almost immediately, the Saints crossed the whitewash through Nafi Tuatavaki. However, JP Doyle would disallow it when he deemed Luther Burrell's pass to have travelled forward. They continued to press though and finally got their score when Api Ratuni-Yawara touched down from close range. Harlequins were down on the scoreboard but critically were in possession of a losing bonus point, and it was that bonus point that was enough to clinch 6th spot. The Saints now with a nervous wait to see if Stade Francais will do them a favour and beat Gloucester in the Challenge Cup final. Final score from the Gardens: Northampton 22, Harlequins 20.
Harlequins made the trip across the road to Twickenham to entertain Northampton in Big Game 10 on Saturday afternoon in round 12 of the Aviva Premiership. Quins would be looking for revenge against the Saints after losing in Big Game 7, and they started the brighter, scoring the first try of the match. Captain Dave Ward, the man to cross, he left Harry Mallender in his wake with a superb run. Quins got their second shortly after through winger Charlie Walker. Jamie Roberts was the provider with an inside ball. Quins were running riot and got their third try on 22 minutes. Tim Visser latching onto a flat pass from Marcus Smith to duck down. Bonus point was complete for John Kingston's side just before the break when Danny Kerr burrowed his way over from close range. Quins started the second half just like the first. Visser getting his second score on 44 minutes after a superb pass from Smith found the Scottish international, and he did the rest. It was turning out to be an embarrassing day for Alan Dickin's side, but they did manage to salvage some pride with scores from Rob Horne and scrum half Nick Groom. However, Quins weren't finished yet as the tries kept coming. Danny Kerr crossing for his second after superb hands from Matt Luamanu and Dave Ward. Luamanu got Quins' 7th score on 69 minutes as he powered his way over. Saints did manage to grab a late consolation try through Mikey Hayward, but Big Game 10 belonged to John Kingston's side as they ran away with an impressive victory. The final score at Twickenham: Harlequins 50, Northampton 21.